Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to call a council meeting to order. Please rise and join me in the council prayer. Dear God, today as this session opens, we pray that your presence will be before us and everyone who serves in the decision-making process of our city. We pray for direction which will lead our city to be strong and unified. May we continue the legacy of our founders. May we be granted this day the wisdom to make decisions which will be for the good of our city. We also pray for your special blessing on all those who are working to transform our city and make it a better place to live and work. Amen. Please join me now in honoring America. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Again, good evening. Would the Madam Clerk please call the roll?
Councilor Martin?
Here.
Councilor Mendonça?
Here.
Councilor Mercier?
Here.
Mayor Milanazzo?
Here.
Councilor Murphy?
Here.
Councilor Broderick?
Here.
Councilor Caulfield?
Here.
Councilor Dakota?
Here.
Councilor Elliott?
Here.
9 present.
9 present. Chair recognizes Councilor Rita Mercier.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to offer a moment of silence in Docking Chamber for the matriarch of the Lithuanian community, Julia Benzowitz. She was the widow of the late Charles J. Benzowitz, who was just as prominent in the Lithuanian community, of which Councilor Caulfield honored him with a memorial stone in the South Lowell area some years ago. Julia was a deep faith-filled woman and an active member to her church, as well as an active member of the Ladies Auxiliary DLKV Lithuanian Club and the Ladies Sodality. Julia was always very fashionable, from her hats to her shoes, and always captured the attention of all when she walked into a room. She was a beloved and devoted wife, mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother, and left a permanent imprint on her family. Julia is survived and will be sadly missed by her 4 children, Charles, Barbara, David, and Anne, 11 grandchildren, and 14 cherished great-grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Mercier. Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like a moment of silence with Docking Chambers for Patricia Keene, a loving and devoted wife, mother, grandmother, a devoted parishioner of St. Margaret's Church, loving mother of Lieutenant David Keene, Lowell Fire Department. May she rest in peace.
Thank you, Councilor Caulfield. May we all now rise in a moment of silence in Docking Chambers. Thank you. May they rest in peace. Moving on to the agenda, under the city clerks, we have a number of minutes of the city council meeting of November 22nd, city council special meeting of November 9th, the ad hoc oversight subcommittee, November 17th, I believe that's the city clerk, and then the neighborhood traffic subcommittee on November 22nd. All those minutes are in our packet. Anybody have any comments, questions? Hearing none, motion to approve the minutes is presented by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Caulfield. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Thank you. Moving on to the city manager's portion of the agenda, communication, responses to motions and requests. Would anybody like to be heard? Address the city manager. Councilor Dakota.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would just like to thank the city manager and his administration for the wonderful City of Lights event. The parade was great, and I appreciate all the hard work that went into that. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Yes, Councilor Caulfield.
It was wonderful, and all the volunteers and the sponsors and the business community who got involved, they make it happen. And the Convention and Business Bureau, Chamber of Commerce, everyone. It was nice.
And the mayor's float this year went to the Greater Lowell Vocational School. It was very well done.
Oh, yes.
Yes. Anyone else on communications? Hearing none, motion to accept the communications placed on file by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, to vote. We have a communication from the city manager regarding a resignation from the Hunger Homeless Commission. Let me just pull that out of my packet here. It's a communication from City Manager Lynch to Rose M. Bronk, accepting her resignation and the manager's filing the resignation and accepting thereof with the city clerk as required by law, and forwarding copies to the city council as a communication. Motion to accept the communication by Councilor Murphy, seconded by Councilor Martin. Accept the communication, place on file. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Thank you. Any subcommittee reports this evening? Hearing none, moving on to the petitions. The first petition is a sewer tie-in, L&J Property Management LLC, 190 Middlesex Street in North Chelmsford. This gets referred to a public hearing on December 13th. Motion by Councilor Broderick, seconded by Councilor Caulfield, to refer the petition to a public hearing on December 13th. Does anybody have any questions or comments? We have esteemed attorney Phil Nyman here representing the petitioner. If anybody has any questions, if not, be referred to a public hearing for December 13th. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Thank you. Under claims, we have two claims, one for property damage, one for personal injury. Referred to the Law Department by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Moving right on to the motions. First motion by Councilor Mendonça. Motion, City Council requests the city manager present a plan to eliminate the operating deficit in the wastewater enterprise fund before the reserve funds are depleted. Seconded by Councilor Broderick. Councilor Mendonça.
Well, the situation has improved as we move forward, but based on the forecast that we received after the Q1 numbers, we're still running a deficit of near $3.5 million a year. Fortunately, for the time being, we have reserves that can absorb that, but ultimately they'll be depleted in about 3 years, actually 2 years, since we're already in one of those years. And at that time, we either be facing a large rate increase to cover that deficit, or we can try to whittle it away each fiscal year up to that so that we can maybe forestall it for a year and also reduce the amount of that deficit. So right now, as I see it, we're already in FY 212, FY 213, we'd use up more of the reserve, leaving us with about $3 million. And then in FY 214, we'd actually have a deficit if everything remained the same. If in FY 213, FY 214, we could whittle away, say, $350,000 of the deficit, then we wouldn't actually be in a deficit situation till FY 215. There'd be another year. Also, during the crisis that we had financially from 2007 on, if you look at the wastewater fund, it has not been impacted. Where other city departments have been cut from 10 to 20% in staffing, the wastewater has been untouched. They remain at 48 employees. So maybe there's some savings that could be had there. And anytime there's an opening through attrition, could be an opportunity to look for a reorganization that could save funds, even though that particular position may need to be refilled. So I just thought I'd bring it up now. Gives us 2 years to address some of it, rather than wait until we have no choice but a large rate increase. That's my rationale.
Thank you, Councilman Mendonça. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Next motion by Councilor Murphy. Motion, City Council requests the city manager identify alternative meeting times for the License Commission to allow for more community input. Seconded by Councilor Caulfield. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I believe we have some community input on the motion, if people would be permitted to speak.
Did they register to speak, do you know?
I know that Mark Goldman has. I'm
Okay.
not sure about
Okay.
the
If
other
you,
speakers.
as long as you follow Rule 26, as long as you're registered to speak, please come forward. Name and address, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the Lowell City Council, Mr. Manager, staff. For the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. I wish to speak in favor of this motion. I think that the License Commission, which meets the first and third Thursdays of the month, could probably start meeting at 6 o'clock p.m. That way, that gives the people an opportunity from work to come to those meetings. Sometimes the meetings could go 3 hours, so I think 6 o'clock or 6:30 would be an appropriate time, particularly if on the second Thursday of the month, if there's a decision regarding the Lowell Historic Board meeting, if they ever have to begin meeting here, that would probably be the only time that they could meet, would be the second Thursday of the month. So that's why I'm saying the first and third for the License Commission. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Gorman. Anyone else ready to speak? Name and address, please.
Kathleen Marson, 200 Market Street. I'm the president of the Downtown Neighborhood Association. I'd like to thank Councilor Murphy for this motion. He did attend our last neighborhood meeting, and we were discussing, actually, we had a lot of residents and a lot of bar owners at the meeting. None of the bar owners had any objection to changing the time of the meeting either. As you know, we have 27 and counting bars in our neighborhood, and occasionally, an issue comes up as being one of that lucky 90% of people who are employed right now. It's really hard, to take work off at 2:30 in the afternoon to get to a 3 o'clock meeting. So anything we could do to improve the communication with them would be very helpful. So I really do hope you'll support the meeting. I actually also have, if you don't mind, Deb Fragione wasn't able to make it from Pawtucketville, but she did say, I respectfully ask you to support Councilor Murphy's motion on the agenda to change the time of the License Commission meetings to allow more people to attend. I think the City of Lowell and the License Commission would benefit from having more participation and allow for better communication in the matters before the Commission. Thank you, Deb Fragione, Chairman of the Pawtucket Citizens Council. And Lou, will you, Anne Marie Page was registered to speak, but asked Lou to
Sure.
step in for her.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kathleen.
Thank you. My name is Lucille Richards. I live at 114 Billing Street in Lowell. I am president of the Centerville Neighborhood Action Group, following Anne Marie Page. I am here this evening to speak in support of Councilor Murphy's motion to change the License Commission's meetings time for the obvious reason. It's more convenient for citizens to attend a meeting after work, and many of our citizens are working men and women, and 3 o'clock is not convenient for them to be here. And there are some very important issues that occur at these meetings with the Licensing Commission. So our neighborhood group, again, is in favor and in support of Patrick Murphy's motion. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for being here. Anyone else? Chair recognizes Councilor Murphy.
Thank you. It's pretty straightforward. It was mentioned that one of the last License Commission meetings, only one person was able to attend and weigh in on one of the items on the agenda, and it was mentioned as a rationale for going against those objections raised, that no other people were there to speak against it. And so if that's going to be the rationale used, then I think we ought to at least allow for many more people to show up and weigh in on what is happening, not just in terms of bars in the downtown, but also a number of other enterprises that might be set up in the neighborhoods. So I appreciate what can be done to reschedule those meetings.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else want to be heard on the motion? Councilor Mercia?
I believe that this motion really is warranted. I don't know who can attend a meeting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon when people have to work in this day and age. But I will tell you that it's very important that bars situations are addressed. I know that the atmosphere in the downtown late at night is very crucial. It's bizarre. It's not like it has been years ago. For some reason, the climate is quite different. It's very frightening and it's very disturbing. I'm hearing this. I don't get out there, but people have said, why don't you get up and go out there at 1 and 2 in the morning and see what we're facing? I fear for the police downtown. I'm telling you right now, and the residents down there, I would be immune to it because I would be in bed at that time of night. But You know, it's getting a little bit scary and frightening, and I think something has to be done. And if we're going to be addressing the situation at the bars, people should be weighing in on it, and they shouldn't be doing it at 3 in the afternoon. So that's a wonderful motion, and I support it 100%. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Martin?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I know a number of us, I think, got complaints about an incident that happened this past weekend at one of the places. So I'd ask the manager to either report on that or forward the License Commission report on that. But certainly, there, you know, we have more residents downtown now. That is by design, but that comes with issues. And I agree with Councilor Mercia. There seems to be more than just a change in volume. It seems to be a change in, you know, the character, behavior, things where people are coming to fight, or fights are it may be not tolerated, but they nevertheless occur. So, you know, if this is going to become an issue where we need to have full public airing of these issues, then this motion is certainly appropriate.
Thank you. Anyone else on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. Next motion by Council Murphy. Motion, City Council requests the city manager offer to host free complete street workshops through the Bay State Roads Program and Mass Department of Transportation in order to begin discussion toward developing a formal policy. Second by Councilman Donza. Council Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This was something that I had brought up early this year, and that the planning department was going to work on when the resources and time was available. And this is a way to just begin those conversations, probably sometime in January, to inform the public of the complete streets idea and to build support for a formal policy. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. Next motion by Councilor Murphy. Motion, City Council requests the city manager report on the potential for LED streetlight purchase plan in which a portion of savings generated is reinvested to incrementally increase coverage of LED streetlights. Seconded by Councilor Dakota. Councilor Murphy.
Thank you. About a month ago, the city of Lowell was cited by Massachusetts as really being a leader in energy policy, mainly because of the Amoresco contract, and we have some items in the agenda tonight. But one of the other cities cited was Boston, and for their work in developing a plan to replace all of their street lights with LEDs, the low emitting devices. And so to look at a plan that might tap into future green community funds, to work at replacing a large number that might create the savings required to be able to reinvest in improving the coverage throughout the city. And obviously, it would be important to look at, whether it makes sense to replace a lot of them now, or whether we do that incrementally, depending upon, what the value is left on the lights, whether we just replace them through attrition, or whether it makes sense to do it a bit more quickly. But I look forward to the report on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments on the motion? Councilor Elliott.
Thank you. Mr. Manager, a number of years ago, we approved a loan order, about $400,000, I believe it was $400,000, for the purchase of street lights. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And that did not include any specific lights, just the purchase of the existing fixtures and presumably the light bulbs in there.
Right.
Does the city was, at that time, was going to take over the maintenance of those?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The reason for my question is I sent Henry an email the other day, and my street has 4 lights out. So my neighbor, instead of, I guess, bothering or calling me, called National Grid. And to place the order or to help him, give him the poll number and blah, blah. He got an order number, and I sent Henry a message, but he was told by National Grid that it was at least 10 to 12 days. So I was a little confused. I thought that I thought the city was going to take over the fixture. So first of all, I don't know why he called National Grid. I think he just presumed that was still the case. But can you clarify exactly what the process is for me, as well as anybody, any other resident that has a street light out? Who should they be calling? Because when my neighbor came up to me, I said, well, why'd you call National Grid? You're supposed to call the city. So
You are correct, Councilor. The city council approved a administration request for a loan order a couple of years back to move forward to purchase the streetlights. The deregulation of the utilities back in the 1990s allowed for municipalities to actually purchase their streetlights in a more economic way than what had existed prior to that. And so we moved forward, and it does, if you look at the budget, it does produce a large savings for us. However, I will say that while we got that loan order approved, the negotiations with National Grid over the purchase price and the actual transition took a considerable amount of time, and it's only been within the last couple of months, or a little bit, perhaps a little bit more, that actually took place, and we've just within the last month and a half received proposals from the contractors that will be doing the maintenance for us. So I have to check and see what the status is of that particular contract. But anyone, for the public, anyone that has a streetlight issue should call the city with any of those issues, and we will follow up on certainly on those.
Okay. So
there might still be a transition with National Grid regarding those lights that there's been a breakdown in communication, which wouldn't surprise me, but we will follow up on that.
Okay, so the city's not doing the maintenance, we're putting it out to a contract.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. If I don't looking to give you more work, but if you can give us a report on exactly what took place, it'd be helpful for me anyway.
Absolutely.
So thank you.
Yeah, we'll get some information out.
Thank you. Any other comments on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. The last motion of the evening by Council Martin. Motion, City Council requests the city manager to investigate the feasibility, advisability of a left turn arrow light from Andover Street to High Street. Seconded by Council Mercia. Councilor Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was almost fully self-explanatory, but I didn't say what direction. So I think this is east, going up the hill. Comes from, constituents that are having a hard time making that turn to going to the hospital, basically. So I haven't experienced that myself, although I do travel quite a bit on that road. Usually the backup in the traffic is going east, not coming down, although in the morning I guess it's a little heavier. But if there could be a count and see if it meets the requirements for an arrow, that's all we're looking for.
Thank you. Anyone else on the motion? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Opposed to vote. That actually concludes the council agenda, except for the public hearings, which is scheduled for 7 p.m. That's 5 minutes from now. So I would, entertain a motion to recess for 5 minutes by Council Broderick, seconded by Council Caulfield. Well, 2 minutes according to the city manager, so we stand in recess for 2 minutes.
Why don't you ask Siri what time it is? Chris? want to get the, are they coming out with Theory the lawyer?
I've been informed that it's now 7 PM, so I'd like to call the meeting back to order and go right into the public hearing portion of the agenda. We have 3 general public hearings. The first is a pole location, National Grid, pole location, Middlesex Street and Edwards Street. I'd like to open up the public hearing for all those wishing to speak in favor. In favor? Is there anyone here from National Grid? In favor, that portion of the public hearing is closed. Those in opposition? In opposition? Public hearing is closed. Referred to the wire inspector by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Broderick. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, it's a vote. Thank you. The next public hearing is a loan order. In City Council, loan order green repair projects to borrow $6,750,000 to pay costs of green repair project at the school department for 4 projects and for the payment of any other costs incidental and related thereto. The public hearing is now open for anybody wishing to speak in favor.
Mr. Mayor, members of the Lowell City Council, Mr. Manager, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street. We should be recorded in favor of this as part of the capital improvements plan, and it is a good public policy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor? That portion of the public hearing is closed. Those wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition? Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council? Council Caulfield.
Mr. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're going to get some reimbursements from the state on this issue. And what would those reimbursements be, Mr. Manager?
I believe those are going to be 80%.
80%?
80% reimbursement.
Then I'm certainly in favor of it.
Thank you. Anyone else? Council Martin.
Yeah, I saw the memo with the reimbursement, so that's certainly good news. So we're going to go under the SBA program as opposed to the Amoresco contract. Is that right for these school projects?
For these projects are in addition to the Amoresco project. There's a couple that are taken out of the Amoresco project, hence the subsequent loan order. But these are on top of what we've.
Okay, so that's what if these are 6.7 million, we're only reducing the next one by 285,000. So is that interest cost that we're reducing it by, or how?
Actually, there were only a couple of little pieces in the Amoresco project, okay. And some of the roofs, for example, on the high school, Amoresco had only expected to do a very small piece of Coburn Hall, whereas the green repair project does all of Coburn Hall.
Okay,
so
all right.
Fine.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Mercia?
I thought it was a 72% reimbursement.
It actually, it's an 80% reimbursement rate of eligible costs, but there are certain costs that are not eligible for reimbursement, 8% of the costs. So the net reimbursement rate for the entire project is 72. That's because that's a mixture of our 20% and ineligible costs.
Thank you. Anyone else? Councilor Elliott.
Yeah, I was going to ask about those costs that are not eligible. Is that in the second column, excluded from these facility grants? Are those the costs?
Exactly.
Okay. And is the city bidding this? I mean, I see this cost for bid preparation, document preparation. So the city is doing this, and that answers the question to Council Martin. It's not going through Amoresco. Are there any renewable energy credits that were eligible under this?
Not on this.
Not on this, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Roll call on the loan order.
Councilor Martin?
Yes.
Councilor Mendonça?
Yes.
Councilor Mercier?
Yes.
Mayor Milonazo?
Yes.
Councilor Murphy?
Yes.
Councilor Broderick?
Yes.
Councilor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Dakota?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas, thank you. The next public hearing, in City Council loan order, reduce the borrowing authorized by the loan order of the City Council voted on April 20th, 2010, for the purpose of financing the cost of making energy efficiency improvements to various city buildings as called for in the city's energy services and energy savings guarantee agreements with Amoresco Incorporated, and for the payment of any other costs incidental and related thereto. The public hearing is now open for anyone wishing to speak in favor.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, for the record, my name is Mark Goldman, 58 Oakland Street, Lowell, Mass. Wish to record in favor of this. This is good news that it's being reduced, and it's also going to continue the green efficiency for the city buildings. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? In favor. That portion of the public hearing is closed. Anyone wishing to speak in opposition? In opposition. Hearing none, the public hearing is closed. What's the wish of the council?
Move approval.
Motion to approve by Councilor Mercia, seconded by Councilor Mendonça. Any discussion? Councilor Mendonça.
Just a quick, obviously, we haven't borrowed all the money yet. Just a quick question is, do you happen to know how much remains unborrowed of the authorization?
We've got a significant amount that's unborrowed. Right now, it's about $12 million. We're in the process, actually in the next couple of days, we're going to be completing $2.6 million of bonding with qualified energy conservation bonds that are taxable bonds with a rebate. The effective interest rate is going to be fantastic for us. It was a real win. We expect the bids to come in at under 2% for 20-year bonds.
So we're basically borrowing sections of money as we need it each year.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Roll call.
Counselor Martin?
Yes.
Counselor Mendonça?
Yes.
Counselor Mercier?
Yes.
Mayor Milonazo?
Yes.
Counselor Murphy?
Yes.
Counselor Broderick?
Yes.
Counselor Caulfield?
Yes.
Counselor Dakota?
Yes.
Counselor Elliott?
Yes.
9 yeas.
9 yeas. Thank you. That concludes the agenda for this evening. Motion, Councilor Caulfield.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Next Tuesday, December 6th, we have a neighborhood traffic subcommittee meeting, and I just want to ask the solicitor, would that ordinance, would the amendment to the ordinance be finished for then?
That still remains the goal, and the DPD has put together a number of recommendations. They finished that up today. They're in the process of being reviewed, and then we will work to try to put that in ordinance form.
Okay, so rather than have the meeting at 5, we'll have it at 5:30, because I don't think it'll take that long to.
Okay.
So this is the amendment to the ordinance on residential parking signs.
And this is the Neighborhood Traffic Subcommittee?
Yes.
5:30. Okay, thank you. Anything else? Motion to adjourn by Councilor Mendonça, seconded by Councilor Elliott. All those in favor? We stand adjourned. Thank you.